Believe it or not, most home sellers hire the first agent that they meet with. Oftentimes, that agent comes highly recommended, but here's the deal. That might be the right agent, but before you sign a contract, I want to share with you 7 questions that you must ask prior to signing a contract so that you feel confident and comfortable signing a listing agreement, because these questions will absolutely help separate the good agents from the great agents. And if your realtor cannot answer these 7 questions, that could be a red flag. In this video, we're going to uncover the 7 most important questions that you must ask your listing agent prior to signing on the dotted line. That way you will have the confidence to know exactly what to ask before you hire a listing agent. I'm Shemeika Fox, your favorite realtor, and if you are considering selling your home, please reach out to me. I have a huge network of realtors across the nation. I would love to connect you that I think you should throw these questions at. Question number 1, how do you price a home if there are no direct comparables? Why is this important? Because pricing strategy matters when you're selling your home. Now, in the Santa Cruz real estate market, we don't have a lot of planned unit divisions or PUDs. It's really challenging to actually accurately price a home because one home on the same block could sell literally for $1 million more than a similar home on that same block. So when you are meeting with a listing agent, ask them how they will be pricing your home with no available comps. It can be more of an art than a science. Question number 2, what is your launch strategy? Now, we are no longer in a market where you take a few pictures, throw it up on the MLS, and hope for the best. We were in that market and things were flying off the shelf, literally in days, hundreds of thousands of dollars above list price. But now homes are taking longer. In fact, in Santa Cruz, our average days on market is hovering around 43 days, and that is county-wide. So a great question to ask is, what is your strategy for marketing my property for the first 30 days? There are too many agents out there that throw it on the MLS, they wing it, they host a couple open houses, but you want a clear strategy. What marketing efforts will be made in the first week? What marketing efforts will be made after week 2 if you do not receive any offers? What will it look like after 30 days? What will those conversations be like? Because if your realtor comes to you asking for a price reduction, you are going to want to see what the marketing efforts have been, as well as the data collected. How many views on the website? How many showings occurred? How many people through your open houses, so that you can make a financially savvy decision as to what to do after 30 days on market. Number 3, and believe it or not, I actually have to re-record this on a different day than I recorded the rest of the video because I was so excited about number 4 because it has a storytelling element to it, which I love. Anyways, number 3 question to ask your realtor when you're interviewing to hire a listing agent is what not to fix. Why is this important? It is important because some people get carried away with trying to make an old dated home look contemporary or new, and they'll do things like add quartz countertops on old cabinets, and quite frankly, that just doesn't look good. Or they will do things like add really modern light fixtures when everything in the house has popcorn ceilings and dated light fixtures. It is equally as important to know what not to fix as it is to know what to fix. And this is about return on investment. And I actually have a great video, the 15 things not to fix when selling your home. I will link it here. You can watch it. It goes over 15 things that I would recommend not fixing when selling your home. But I would say to highlight what not to fix is there are older homes that are very nicely maintained, but they're dated. They're not current. But if you start fixing things to try to make pieces of it current, it starts to feel like a hodgepodge mess. And when I'm showing a buyer a home and it feels like different people came in at different times and started putting different products together during different eras, it doesn't leave a good taste in the buyer's mouth, and the buyer feels like there are things that have been covered up, versus when I show a home that is dated, but it clearly has been meticulously maintained. I'm talking like bleached grout all white. I'm talking no cracks in the 1960s yellow tile bathroom. I'm talking beautiful oak kitchen cabinets that might not be current standard trends, but they actually are in really good condition. A lot of times when I show that house, that dated house with good bones and that has been really well maintained, buyers actually get excited because they don't feel like there are hidden things that might come up later. So make sure when you are getting ready to prepare your home for sale that you have a really great realtor that you can lean on so that they can guide you into the best return on investment and not fix things that shouldn't be fixed in preparing your home for sale. Question number 4, how do you deal with a buyer whose finances fall apart when you're already in contract? Now, it is an absolute nightmare for sellers and listing agents to have a contract or a deal fall apart when you're already in escrow, because now you've spent a bunch of time off market with a buyer who is trying to purchase the property. And if that deal falls through, you have to put your home back on the market and start over. And many buyers will ask, what's wrong with the home? Why is it back on the market? Now, it's explainable when a buyer's financing falls apart, but there will still be a stigma around that property with a TFT or a transaction fell through status. So how do you handle a buyer whose financing falls apart when you are already in escrow is a very important question. And you can even ask for examples so that you can hear what this agent has gone through to salvage or save a deal from collapsing when you're already at the closing table. Quick, shameless plug. If you are getting any value out of this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. We publish videos weekly and hope that the content is exactly what you've been looking for. And if it's not, you get to see my bright and shiny face. Question number 5, and this one I feel is so important because it will minimize seller fatigue, which is a real thing. How often will I hear from you once we go live? And not only how often, but what can I expect to hear from you? Will you just be calling to say hi? I certainly hope not. Will you be calling with an update on how many showings we've had that week? Any feedback from the buyers? Will you be calling me to tell me that every single buyer who walked through your home loves your home but hates the kitchen? At which point we might need to restructure and re-strategize. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that I get if I am the second or third agent coming into a listing that has not sold is that the sellers get very frustrated because they feel like they're completely left in the dark. Now, again, we're not in a market where your home is going to sell in the first few days. If it does, take that offer and run directly to the bank. But if it doesn't, you want to be in the know about what is going on with your home, especially if you don't live there. If you don't live there, the agent actually doesn't need to call you in order to schedule appointments. So you could actually have zero clue as to what is in fact going on at your property with showings, with interest, with marketing, etc., etc. So question number 5, I'm going to reiterate. How often will you contact me once our property goes live, and what will those conversations look like? Question number 6, how do you reach buyers who are not yet in this market? And that could be both buyers who are not yet ready to purchase, but also and primarily buyers who are not located in the city or county or area that you are selling your home. For example, in Santa Cruz, we live 30 minutes away from Silicon Valley. And so I would want to know, if I was a seller, how my agent is going to reach the buyers over in Silicon Valley, especially since last year in 2025, the Silicon Valley buyers made up 1/3 of our home sales in Santa Cruz County. So I want to know how my realtor who's representing the sale of my home is going to effectively market my property to those Silicon Valley buyers so that we can get the most eyes on your property. The other piece of how will your realtor effectively market to buyers who are not yet in the market is to make sure you understand what is their network. How long have they been in the business? How many realtors do they have in their database, both locally and afar? How many buyers and clients and sphere of influence do they have in their networking database so that they can reach out and promote your property again to the masses? Because I personally get phone calls from friends and family. Hey, I saw that property that you just listed on the market and it looks absolutely beautiful. Not for me, but my friend is looking in the area. Can I connect you? So utilizing your listing agent's network is a huge benefit to you. And question number 7, if you made it to the very end, in my opinion, this is a really fun question because it allows the agent to share with you something that they're probably proud about, but a story that will highlight something that is very important for you to know. How have you saved a deal from falling apart? Tell me about a deal that almost fell apart, but you were actually able to save it. Realtors love telling stories, especially if it highlights their heroism. I'm serious. I kid you not. Asking this question can give you crucial details because some of them, believe it or not, I am not even kidding, could have had transactions fall apart that they were not able to save. Now, let me preface this by saying, yes, deals fall apart all the time and you're just not able to save it. Financing issues, cold feet, etc., etc. But you want to understand that your realtor that you will be hiring can think quickly, think on their feet, be creative, find solutions that will hold your deal together. Because once you are in escrow, as I mentioned before, you don't want your property to come back on the market if it is at all avoidable. When they're telling the story, if they allow you time to ask questions, ask deeper questions. Ask them how long it took to save the deal, how many days were spent during this renegotiation process, and if there was a renegotiation process, did that affect the final closing date? Get all of these details. What was the issue that came up? Was this issue previously disclosed to the buyer? Was it a financing issue that the agent was effectively able to save? There's so many creative nuances that can actually save deals if your agent is able to think quickly and take action, that I would highly, highly, highly recommend you ask them for a story about a deal that they saved that almost fell apart. This is obviously just a few questions that I would highly recommend you use when interviewing a realtor prior to signing the listing agreement. If you have had an experience and you want to share with me what questions you wish you asked or questions that you did ask that sealed the deal for you, please comment below. I would love to hear from you. And if you are thinking about selling in the near or distant future, I would love to connect with you. I would love to be the realtor of your choice in the Santa Cruz area, and I would be happy to connect you with an agent within my network anywhere in the country. Call me, text, or email. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.